Good morning and welcome to Recipe for Success. Well, since I'm solo today, I think I'm going to take this off my head. There we go. So, thank you for joining me. So, it's just me today. And the reason that I wanted to do this episode today is that this is the last episode of season 2. I have actually 50 whole episodes in the books, which is a big accomplishment for me. And I thought it would be fun to kind of look back on 2022, look back at some of the guests that I've had, some of my favorite moments, and just kind of give you a recap in general. So, one of the things, hi, Nidra, sorry about that. One of the things that I have enjoyed about this year in particular is that, and I can't go on without acknowledging my mom, who is my biggest fan and always is there to support me. I appreciate you, Mom. One of the things that I particularly enjoyed about this year is it's kind of hard to describe, but I feel like this was the year after many long years on this planet that I really became 100% comfortable in my own skin. I felt comfortable being who I am, silly, goofy, all of those things, and quite authentic and blunt in my opinions. I try not to be unkind, but I don't have time to waste on pandering to things that aren't important to me or agreeing with opinions publicly that I disagree with privately. So that is now a thing in the past. One of the reasons that I started this podcast in the first place is any of you that have followed me for a while have heard me say this before, but I love to cook. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do. And a couple of years ago, I was in the kitchen. I don't even remember what I was making, but I was doing something that was fairly complicated. And I started realizing that every recipe, every successful recipe or dish has a key ingredient or technique that is really critical to the outcome of whatever it is that you're trying to prepare. And I realized that really the same thing is true in business and in life. There is always that secret ingredient. And for me, I think the secret ingredient I've discovered for myself is authenticity. It is being 100% myself, saying my truth, letting people know when I disagree or agree with them, doing it kindly, although sometimes telephone solicitors may not get the best version of me. I'm not going to lie about that. But really leaning into that and knowing that being me helps other people feel comfortable doing the same thing. So, I wanted to start with a recap of a few of my favorite episodes from this season. Feel free to chime in if you have some of your own. But one of my very favorites was Nurse Deb, or Deborah Alt with AIM International. The reason that it was so fun to talk to Deb is because she tells it like it is, and she pulls no punches. Plus, I have to admit, her answer to one of my burning questions was one of my very favorites. When I asked her the question of who you would most like to sit down with and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine with and have a conversation, her answer was she wanted to sit down and have a glass of wine with Jesus Christ. I am pretty sure no one is going to top that answer. So I really loved that. And speaking of favorite answers to the burning questions, Jen Walsh responded with one of my favorite answers to what is your favorite food and can you cook it? Her answer was, without hesitation, might I add, nachos and why would I? I don't know. That one sticks out in my head as it was funny, it was honest, and it just really spoke to me. And you know that any episode with Emma Fox is going to be fantastic. And of course, she didn't disappoint when I had her on as a solo guest. And then she did come back as part of my panel around aging and changing in the public eye. And that honestly might have been one of my very favorite episodes of the season because we had a diverse group of people. We had different ages, we had men and women, we had different concerns. And it was really interesting to hear their perspectives because they were very eye-opening. The reason I ended up doing that episode in the first place was Megan Chiarello had reached out off of a post I had made on LinkedIn and said, you really should do a podcast around this because more people probably feel this way than you think. And it turned out that she was right. And what was really interesting to me was that the same concerns I have as somebody who is on the older end of the spectrum were just the exact opposite concerns that some of the younger people had as well. So it's funny how we all get on our own heads about how other people perceive us. So I guess that is one of those things that I'm really letting go of. Plus, it was really we looked kind of like a dysfunctional Brady Bunch episode, the opening with everybody in the little squares, which made me happy, I'm not going to lie. 2022 was a big year for me in general. I had several milestones. And as I mentioned when I opened, this was when I really felt I just settled into me. All of the masks and the pretenses and the insecurities that I had really went away. Do I get nervous and insecure sometimes? Yes, but it doesn't stick with me the way that it used to because I know I like who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I think I'm a good person. I think that I do good things for the industry. I think I am a good friend. And I'm proud of those things. And if I leave this earth with nothing else other than that, I feel like that's an achievement. Oh, thanks, Callie. She mentioned that she thought the panel episode was great. I did too. It was one of my favorites. I for sure will be doing more of those this next season. I made some really deep and lasting friendships in this industry and outside of it as a result of the virtual world. Can I speak? The virtual world we were forced into during the pandemic. And, I'm really pleased to say that Callie, who just commented, is an industry friend who's become a lifetime friend as well. And really, those friendships have been cemented over this past year because we've had the opportunity to spend time together in real life and really get to know one another. And I am so eternally grateful. I live in a fairly small town and I struggled with finding my people here. I always felt like an outsider. I always felt like I was looking in and trying to figure out, how do I fit in with everyone else? And I kind of didn't. And once I started being more okay with that, I think that's when I truly found my people. And my people live in Chicago and they live in San Antonio and they live in North Carolina. And that's okay. If I have them in my corner, I know that I'm good. They don't have to live across the street from me. It's always fun to have those in the same town, but I'll take these friendships over anything else. The beginning of 2022 really kicked off with a bang with the UPowered Symposium, which was the brainchild of Emma Fox, who I mentioned earlier. She and her husband David created Coffee Chat kind of at the beginning of the pandemic as a way for people to stay connected because all of a sudden all of our industry events were gone. All the things that we used to do to connect were gone. And so it was kind of casual, fun way to bring us together around industry topics. And I'm fairly confident she had no idea of how it would grow and what it would turn into. What she and her team created was something unique with the UPowered Symposium. And I think it was something we were all craving. And that was real connection around real issues. We were finally being able to be in an environment where we could be together, see each other, read body expressions, and get to know each other on a deeper level. Not only was it 3 days full of learning and collaboration, we had a lot of fun. Oh, I have two comments I'm going to pop up before. So my mom says it really is hard here in Gig Harbor. Thank you. I have a good relationship with my mom. And Callie said one of the nicest things. You're amazing inside and out. Oh, that makes my heart sing. Thank you so much. Just lost my train. Got a little emotional there, but we'll go back to recapping the UPowered Symposium. I had the privilege of co-hosting the awards ceremony with Ben Winfield, Mr. Pink himself, and I am thrilled to say that we have been called upon to do it again next year. It was such a great time. It was fun. Everyone was supportive of each other. It was an awards ceremony in the best possible way, in that we were all there to cheer each other on to success. Now, there was another big milestone for me in 2022. And because, again, this is the year I decided that all the laundry's out, I turned 60 this year. And my friends and family made sure that I felt all the love. So much so that I even had the privilege of wearing this beautiful crown for a whole evening. And if you know me, I love a good crown, or a wig for that matter. Gosh, I hate to take that off. Just makes me so happy. All right, let's see what we did to the hair there. Oh, well. So again, if you watched any of my videos, I do love a good wig. I also found that I love a good green wig. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the funny thing is, green kind of seemed to be my theme for 2022, as I found this amazing green power suit when I was in Washington, D.C. with my daughter-in-law, Jazz, and she convinced me that I really needed to get that green suit. It was a little above my normal price point, but it was just one of those things. I had to have it. I bought it, and I wore that suit on stage at the Benefits Pro conference in Austin for one of their Ben talks. My talk was on Ride or Die, and I got to talk about practical steps for riding into your vision. I think it was one of the times I felt the best about myself. That green suit was magical. I put it on, and I felt powerful. I felt that I was 100% authentically me, and that it was eye-catching, and I was comfortable with that attention, which that was kind of cool. And keeping with the green theme, conference season wrapped up with the Health Rosetta Summit in Denver, which was just it was last month. I guess today is September 1st, so it was in August. And I have to tell you, it was the perfect way, because that conference closed things out with a bang. I was honored, beyond honored, to share the stage with 4 other beautiful, successful women that I call friends: Callie Ortega, Allison DePauli, Christine Shear, and Melissa Taylor. We were all on stage talking about our why for doing what we do and our passion. It was a magical moment. It was unrehearsed, and it was the perfect way to open the conference with a different focus. It was 4 women, actually 5 women on stage. And I've been in this industry a really long time, and that's not a common thing. It wasn't a common thing 30 years ago, and it's still not actually a common thing today. So the fact that they embraced that and gave us that platform was amazing. The conference continued. We were deeply engaged in presentation, networking, and focusing not just on the problems in our industry, but in our community, and talking about how we could use the tools that we bring to employers and bring to individuals to create solutions, and not just, hey, let's sell something else. It was really about finding solutions and creating, I'm going to be so bold as to say, creating a better world. And I can't talk about the Health Rosetta Summit without talking about the karaoke session on Tuesday night. Lynn Ann Henderson and her fabulous connections team organized the entire event, and it was a perfectly organized event. And when I first saw karaoke on the schedule, I was like, it's at 5 o'clock at night. Who's going to karaoke? Well, it turns out a lot of us wanted to karaoke at 5 o'clock at night because we were in this absolutely fabulous venue and it was fun. The fun was contagious. Kira Hanselman, who recently joined the Connections team and was one of the co-hosts, she kicked it off. She was on that stage with the opening karaoke with some boots I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to have. They were pink platform, sparkly. They were a riot. And her two backup dancers, two guys, were rocking the long green synthetic wigs. You know, I had my eye on those wigs. Anyone that knows me knows that I absolutely do not have a musical or rhythmic bone in my body. But apparently that didn't stop me from joining the newly formed musical group, the Ladies of Health Rosetta. And clearly, if I was going to be on stage, it was going to require one of those green wigs. And to show her solidarity, Allison got one as well. We sang our hearts out with about 10 women to I Will Survive while I bebopped around in the background like an astronaut lost in space. But I didn't care because, again, it was fun. We were laughing, we were connecting, we were bonding. And that's what that event, that karaoke session allowed us all to do. My face hurt by the end of it because we laughed and smiled so hard. It was awesome. And now here we are in the beginning of September, and you're wondering, why is she doing a year in review on September 1st? We've got a few months to go. It's true, we do have a few months to go. However, in the employee benefits industry, this is what we like to call our busy season. There's a few other choice terms that I'm sure that a few others use for it. But for us personally, about 80% of our clients renew between now and the first of the year. So we, in our agency, work with not only employer groups, but we also work with individuals and Medicare clients. So 80% of our group clients renew. It is the annual election period for Medicare beneficiaries, and it's open enrollment for individuals. It is crazy making time. That's the reason we're wrapping up Recipe for Success a little bit early. I will be returning to my regular scheduled programming after the first of the year. I mean, who knows? There may be a holiday special between now and then thrown in there. So before I wrap it up, I will leave just a moment or two for any questions. This is a shorter episode, as I'm sure there's only so much you want to hear from me without a little bit of input. So I am, and I know comments pop up a minute or two later, so I won't sing. I've already warned you all that I am the least musical person. Looks like we don't have any questions, so I am going to wrap it up. And I want you to remember until the next time that your recipe for success is yours alone. It's not somebody else's. You might see a recipe that looks good, but you're going to need to tweak it. You're going to need to make it your own. And once you embrace that, that's when the real magic starts to happen. So I'll see you soon.